How long have we been on here? Fred, will you share this video to the NATF group? Are you in there? I can't figure out how to send it to people. How to send this video to like groups. Officer in here, is that here? That's not like really tight. These assholes will leave the parking lot. Let's go pull someone over for some bullshit. Want to show up and take a report? Look at this shit. Misappropriation of government property. That's what you call all this. That dude's acting under unlawful authority. Those dudes are. That dude is zero lawful authority. My affection. No, thank you. No, thank you. If they send that jackass out here again, we should just slam him to the fucking ground. Disarm him. Handcuff him.
Just keep him on that stuff and down.
Yeah. He needs to be disarmed. That fool's armed and dangerous.
It's okay. He's going to be sitting there wondering how I'm going to get it on the court record when no one will take the court.
That's what he's thinking.
He's like, yo, okay, buddy. I'm like, yo, okay, you don't even know.
Is this guy covered? You come and talk to us? Anybody? No? That thing. The track cleaner? It's like a fun thing to operate on. Y'all, they got a shit ton of cars here. You tell me they can't find one person to come take our report? This one.
They love leaving their cars running. You guys agree to leave cars running all day and pay the gas bill? That's pretty fucking expensive right now. We got 2 of them here. 996 again. Wow.
There's 3 of them. Actually, it sounds like all of them are running.
Is there standard policy to leave all these vehicles running out here without identifying them?
Yeah.
I don't know what the city's policies are.
You know what the general duties of the sheriff is?
Yes, they do.
It's interesting. Do you know there were riots the last couple of years?
Pardon?
You know there were riots the last couple of years?
Yes, sir, I'm aware. Have a great day.
Interesting. You aware of what criminal liability for conduct of another is?
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
You too.
How many cars are running? 1,
So we got 4 cars running here, but no officers at the station to respond to us.
2, 3,
Yeah,
4. Gas cap's open. 5. They're all running. They're all running. The cars and the cops. Bet you if someone was calling about, someone's not wearing a mask in my building right now, the cops are on it. What? It's a major crime. Let's go get them. They really like wasting our time, is what they like doing. I'm hungry. Who's cooking? We need dinner. Who's cooking? How long has this video been playing, guys? How long have we been here? 2 hours? No, I mean since we talked to that douchebag under who wouldn't identify himself. That's really creepy. A guy can walk around wearing a mask and not identify himself as being a sheriff. Scary, huh?
So if you think this isn't involuntary servitude, let me just read you the definitions really quick for ORS 163.263 and 163.264, which is involuntary servitude in the 2nd degree and 1st degree. Services means activities performed by one person under the supervision or for the benefit of another person. So a service is literally any action you do or don't do for another person. An action is a service. So someone wants you to put a mask on so that you can engage in commerce. They're asking you to perform a service for them or under the supervision or benefit of another.
And we all know masks aren't for anybody's benefit. And even if they were, no one can force you to wear one against your will. There are laws against that.
Person commits the crime of subjecting another person to involuntary servitude in the second degree if the person knowingly and without lawful authority forces or attempts to force the other person to engage in services by abusing or threatening to abuse the law or legal process.
But that's just your belief, according.
Threatening to report a person to a government agency for the purpose of arrest. So maybe I subjected him to involuntary servitude.
If we did, we'd be arrested.
Oh, instilling in the other person a fear that the actor will withhold from the other person the necessities of life, including but not limited to lodging, food, like a grocery store, and clothing. It's a Class C felony. Oh, and by the way, on prohibited, under prohibited conduct for 131.602, prohibited conduct for purposes of instrumentalities of crime. These are preliminary provisions for crimes. So it's like the very first thing you look at when you go with the crime. Now, number 144 and 145. So this statute is a 149 statute list of other crimes, which if you trigger one of those, you trigger this one. It says right here, an attempt, conspiracy, or solicitation to commit a crime in subsections 1 to 149 of this section, if the attempt, conspiracy, or solicitation is a felony or Class A misdemeanor. And what was that? Class C felony?
Mm-hmm.
So number 144 and 145. ORS 163.264 and 263. Involuntary servitude in the first and second degree. Now let's see what the first degree of involuntary servitude is. So this is a Class B felony, so a little heavier sentencing. A person commits the crime of subjecting another person to involuntary servitude in the first degree if the person knowingly and without lawful authority forces or attempts to force the other person to engage in services by causing or threatening to cause the death of or serious physical injury to a person, or physically restraining or threatening to physically restrain the person. So like forced removal from your job, or from the store, or the courthouse where you have to go to defend yourself from all this bullshit, or sue the people liable because the cops won't write criminal charges because they know they're liable. Criminal liability for conduct of another.
Jeremy, what's up, bro? Hello. I don't think I can answer the phone, Jeremy, and talk. Or, and do this. But, yeah, we should definitely meet up after we're done. That'd be awesome. Are you cooking dinner? That's all we want to know.
We have to get home by 4.
Oh, shoot. Why, yo, never mind.
My mom's going to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's going to dinner.
Okay. What are we waiting on here? Someone to show up and take this report?
Yep. So remember, they have 4 running police cruisers outside. Oh, number 89, racketeering activity unlawful. Shall we see what triggers racketeering activity unlawful? This is ORS 166.720. And it says, it is unlawful for any person who has knowingly received any proceeds derived directly or indirectly from a pattern of racketeering activity or through the collection of an unlawful debt to use or invest, whether directly or indirectly, any part of such proceeds or the proceeds derived from the investment or use thereof in the acquisition of any title or any right, interest, or equity in real property or in the establishment or operation of any enterprise. So when they extort money from you for a ticket and then that goes towards the officer's paychecks, that's racketeering activity. So shall we go to the definitions for unlawful racketeering activity? 166.715. As used in 166.715 to 166.735, unless the context requires otherwise, documentary material means any book, paper, document, writing, drawing, graph, chart, photograph, phonographic record, magnetic tape, computer printout, other data compilation from which information can be obtained or from which information can be translated into usable form or other tangible item. To me, that sounds like I can make memes. Enterprise includes any individual, sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, business, trust, or other profit or non-profit legal entity, and includes any union, association, or group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity, and both illicit and licit enterprises, and governmental and non-governmental entities. Oh my god. So, let's see here. Racketeering activity includes conduct of a person committed both before and after the person attains the age of 18 years and means to commit, to attempt to commit, to conspire to commit, or to solicit, coerce, or intimidate another person to commit, such as the sheriffs coercing their undersheriffs and deputies, or coercing their duties, such as letting the riots go on and not arresting Mike Schmidt for hindering prosecution. See, they don't need judges to tell them all these things. These laws are written for them to enforce, not so they can go ask a judge or a prosecutor if they're doing the right thing. That's why the criminal process is governed by statute under 156.010, because they don't get to decide who's a victim and who's not. They take the report, they turn it in, the DA files it, and if the DA and the judge prosecute the charge according to the criminal process being governed by statute, the law determines who is guilty and who is innocent according to the wording of the law, not beliefs or interpretations or any of that other bullshit. The statute laws of Oregon, statute revision laws of Oregon 1953 are so intended to speak for themselves. Doesn't say anything about interpretation. So, to trigger racketeering activity, any conduct that constitutes a crime as defined in ORS 161.515, crime described, which means a misdemeanor or felony, under any of the following provisions of the Oregon Revised Statutes. Unsworn falsification, perjury, obstructing governmental or judicial administration, tampering with public records, hindering prosecution. I wonder who would hinder prosecution. I wonder if a judge or a DA would hinder prosecution, and if that would give the sheriff standing under the first duty to arrest said judge or attorney. But do you think they're going to do that if they're asking the judge and the attorney whether or not they should arrest the judge or attorney for which the conduct of they're all criminally liable if they do not? Because they have a duty to arrest people for crimes such as hindering prosecution, and if they don't, it turns into racketeering activity. Criminal impersonation of a public servant. Oh, we went over that one the other day.
Let's go over it again, because that's going on. Speak up, because I think they're having trouble hearing you.
A person commits the crime of criminal impersonation of a public servant if, with the intent to obtain a benefit, injure, or defraud another, or to facilitate an unlawful activity such as coercing your duties. The the person doesn't act in the assumed character of a public servant. There is no defense to a prosecution under the section that the office, position, or title of the person pretended to hold did not in fact exist, or that the unit of government that the person pretended to represent did not in fact exist. Now, notwithstanding paragraph A of this subsection, criminal impersonation of a public servant is a Class C felony if the public servant impersonated is a peace officer, judge, or justice of the peace. And for the purposes of this section, public servant includes an active member or veteran of the armed forces.
So when they're acting outside of their limited authority, they're in the realm of impersonating a police officer, public servant.
And so if you don't know what extortion is a theft charge, but it has to do more with things of value that are harder to determine, such as rights, antiquities, things that aren't covered in the 3 degrees of the theft laws. So that includes
I'm gonna try that. Can you guys not comment because I don't see none of your comments?
That includes your tangible and intangible rights. So your intangible rights are your information, your rights, the right to conscience, make your own decisions.
Okay, got it, Quinn.
This is quite a long list of crimes that trigger racketeering activity, by the way.
You're not a pain, Quinn.
Oh my goodness.
No one else is commenting, so I just can't even tell if